Hey, welcome everybody. My wife and I here are going to start a little channel called Fire, Flour, and Fur. Hopefully to kind of go through some of the things we've learned and done, specifically with cooking. That would be the fire and the fur part. I have done a little bit of competition barbecue, and for the better part of a decade I was a single parent. I raised 3 kids by myself, and I'm not talking every other weekend and certain times during the summer and holidays. I'm talking basically 24 hours a day. I was responsible for the welfare of 3 kids, 3 great kids, absolutely great kids. And so that's the fire. The flour part of this will be my lovely wife.
I grew up cooking. My mother was an amazing cook, raised 6 children on a professor's salary, so she learned from her mom how to cook on a budget and still make really great food. And I have great memories of going home at the end of the day and coming home to the smell of fresh, hot, homemade bread and strawberry jam. And we've heard it before where people say, if you really, really want to make a friend, invite them over to your home for dinner or go to their home for dinner, because when you share food, you are sharing a piece of that person. And both of us grew up that way, where our parents made friends, or you took food over to a new mother, or to help heal the pain of somebody who had passed away. And we've taken that on ourselves. We love to cook for people. We love to bake for people. We love to invite people into our homes. So that's been a huge part of our lives.
That's very true on both sides. I came from a family of 5 kids. My mother and father both worked their whole lives providing for us. Like I said, I had a family of my own. It was very important to me when I had my children with me that we just didn't live off macaroni and cheese and tuna fish. So in the middle of all that, I figured the best thing I can do for my children is to not only become self-sufficient, but to cook for them and make them understand that, there was a big wide world out there, and part of that became through food, because I made it a point to learn different styles. And then several years ago, I got into the barbecue. I have done some barbecue competitions. I do okay at it. I'm not great. I don't do it as much as I wish I could. We're both very busy. We both work full-time jobs. But, in the long run, we have learned a lot of things. We've been together for almost
19 years.
Almost 19 years at this point. And so between the two of us, my wife is an educator, and the one thing I have learned from her probably more than anything is that you never stop learning. You must always learn something. You never know enough about anything. She is the consummate student. Anything she does, she jumps into feet first, wholeheartedly. And learning from her, I've done that same thing, and one of those passions is cooking. I have many hobbies that I do. Once again, I don't have a lot of time to do them all, but I have a lot of hobbies. But the thing with cooking is the two of us can do it together. Now, the whole point of this channel is to take that information and share it with you. We have learned many different things, probably doing it a completely different way.
We grew up similar. We both grew up in families that had sheep herders, ranchers, farmers in our history. They learned to cook from the land. They learned to cook really good, basic food. And a lot of our philosophy comes from that. But, as we've said before, even though they cooked really well, salt and pepper was the basic spice, and if you got a little creative, maybe you'd put a little paprika in.
Maybe a little garlic.
Yeah. And Bert talked about how when he first moved out, he realized food had flavor because you could put spices and stuff. So we are taking what we learned from our parents, what we grew up sitting on a stool, helping, measure stuff out and learn how to break eggs into a bowl. And we've studied, and we have watched TV, and we have read, and we have practiced and repracticed until we felt like we'd learned something. And believe me, that comes with a lot of error.
Oh boy.
But that's the fun of it, is figuring it out.
Correct. Now, so that's the fire and the flour part of it, because I like to do a lot of cooking. We both like to do a lot of cooking. My part in this is going to be like the barbecue stuff, the just stuff like that. Her part's going to be the baking. She's an amazing baker. The one thing about Marta is, my wife, is that she will take a recipe, put little tweaks on it. What I like to call it, she Martifies things and brings it into what her and I both like as far as a flavor profile. And that's the flour, or excuse me, the fire and the flour part. The fur part, come here, is what we've always been, is animal people. Come here.
Yeah, we've trained them not to do this, and now we're asking them to. Come. What's up?
So what we have at the current moment is, come here,
Up.
come on. We have 2 big German Shepherds.
Phoebe.
I've had pets my whole life. She was kind of limited on what she had for pets. But the point is we do have dogs. These 2 particular dogs, we are actually training to be search and rescue dogs. Phoebe, our little female dog, our little girl, she's got her first certification. She's got her trail test done. We are working on getting a bigger test done for her, hopefully here in the next few months. And then our little boy, who's not so little, he's still kind of in the learning process. He is a bit of a challenge, but he's a great dog. They're both great dogs. So part of that is we actually do, we actually make our own rubs and sauce, and we sell that at like farmers markets and stuff. And part of that, well, the majority of that, anything we make off that, goes to the training and the welfare of our dogs. Like I say, it's a lot of fun. We're having a great time doing this. So put that all together, that's where we get the fire, the flour, and the fur.
You're going to get a little bit of all of that.
Yeah. So in the middle of this channel, we'll be doing cooking demonstrations. We'll be doing little things that we find here and there, little tricks, little tips. Food prep. We'll do some of the longer, bigger videos on the cooking, the food prep, and going through the motions of cooking things. There'll be little snippets here and there about the dogs, what we do on our training. So the biggest thing that we want to impress upon people is that we hope that this turns into something that you will all enjoy and get something from.
Even if it's just little snippets of information. Like I said, we're not trained, but little things that you may not have known that we learned from when we were kids.
Yep. And along the way, because there's things that you end up having to learn out of necessity, which we both did. So long and short of that is if you see something on our channel, and if you like what you see and you feel like you want to comment, or mostly what we're hoping for is if you have tips that can not only help us but anybody else that happens to watch, we really appreciate that being put in the comments. Help us along with this. I don't know where we're going to go exactly. This is still kind of new, and I realize this is getting a little bit long, but that's fine. Anyway, kind of look for things that are coming up on our channels, every so often as the chance comes. Hey, babe. As the chance comes up, we'll put out new videos on something, be it something baking or some form of cooking, or, whatever we do for barbecue. But anyway, I hope you enjoy this. We both really hope you enjoy this. And like I say, anything that you feel like you can add, please, we're all ears. Just because I know it's hard to find good information about little ticky-tack things. I know Marta will agree that it's funny how we're seeing a lot of things now where people are into bottling fruit and bottling vegetables, and how cool and fun it is. And I can tell you, when we were kids, there was nothing fun about it. That was necessity. We had big gardens. We'd spend about this time of year, early fall, start picking stuff. You'd spend a week bottling your poor little ass off because that's the way it was. But I'll tell you what, there's nothing better than something fresh out of a bottle out of your pantry.
So, if you have suggestions, even if you have ideas for recipes that you would like us to try, feel free to comment.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm hoping that our kids will make things entertaining. You're just going to have to realize you're going to get what you're going to get from us. There's going to be days that I'm probably going to be, I am walking around barefoot in my kitchen because this is the way I am. It's not always going to be fancy, but I'm hoping it'll be fun.
It will be. Anyway.
And we just want to welcome you to our kitchen.
Yes, welcome. And thank you in advance.
Does that work?